How much will the war, Ukraine-Russian war, affect markets? Well, if you're asking that, you're asking the wrong question. And if you've been watching me for a while, you're like, oh my God, you're making him say the same stupid thing over again, right? How many of you know what I'm about to say? What moves markets? Now, there's lots of things, and we'll talk about why it's a little more complex than we may think. But in general, when the central bank is pushing money in, markets go up. When they're pulling money out, markets go down. It's just that simple, but it's not so simple. How much do they need to put in before it starts going up? And how much would it go up? And how much needs to be pulled out or tightened before it starts going down? And how much will it go down? And when will their pivot come? It's still not that easy, but it is the most important thing. And so right now, Ukraine war, oh, it's bad, makes markets go down. Well, really? Do you remember 2020? Long time ago, but maybe you remember. We got all of a sudden a disease we don't know about. We're all sitting inside. There's a lockdown. People are lighting fire, buildings on fire in the street. I mean, what else? The list of bad news, markets going straight up. Well, what happened to bad news makes markets go down? No. And if markets had been going down, had the central bank not printed all that money, markets would have been going down. People would have been blaming all those problems. Again, it's not. It's a central bank. Now, if we had a normal, unmanipulated market, not based on a Ponzi scheme with this dollar platform, in a real world, maybe markets would be a different thing. But right now, what we have basically is a Ponzi scheme supported by the central bank printing money. And so that's what matters. Now, some people will say, well, they haven't even started cutting yet. Right? They haven't raised interest rates. They haven't stopped printing money. So what are you talking about? Well, no, they haven't started raising rates yet, but rates have been going up because the market's anticipating it. That's tightening, right? They're still printing money to buy shit from banks, but they're printing less. And people are anticipating it, right? This printing money, it's like a drug, right? This is like you're out at the club, right? You had E and 4 shots of tequila, but you're like, oh shit, it's 4 o'clock and I'm coming down. You're still on drugs. You're still fucked up, but you know that 3 hours from now, you got to go to work. So you start getting depressed, right? And that time we know is going to come. That's where we're at right now. People are like, oh shit, it's going to be morning soon. Oh, they're going to turn the lights on and this person I've been dancing with all night is going to see what I look like and vice versa, right? So, anyways, in 2018, I remember thinking when crypto started crashing and, I remember thinking, well, this crash won't be that bad. I mean, look at all the good things that were happening. Bitcoin launched Lightning Network, and there was good news all the time, but it just kept going down. Why? Because the central bank was shrinking its balance sheet. And eventually that spread to the stock market, and then something broke. And then in 2019, they said, oh shit, let's start printing again, and everything starts going up. That's how it works. The news media makes money by convincing you that by watching today's news, that'll tell you how to make money. It's not true. And now, there is one link with this war in that, so central bank pulling money out does affect things. And the central bank likes to be careful about pulling money out because then they break something or they don't want to be blamed and lose their jobs. But inflation is a problem because that's the end game. When you have inflation, a long story, but when there's inflation, that means the central bank, the government can't steal from you secretly anymore because inflation's screwing that up. And if they can't steal from you, it's the end game. They got problems. So they don't like inflation, which means they really have to pull money out. And that's what we have right now is not only, they're really under a lot of pressure here. Like normally, if something breaks that they care about, they got to start printing. But if there's still inflation, they got a problem. And this war is another, we've got issues, structural issues with the supply chain making things expensive. And we have issues with energy. And this affects that as well. The problem is, these Western elite morons, and I don't want to go too far into it, but let me just say in short, which is, if you are not pro-nuclear, you're not pro-green energy. It is the safest, cleanest, least expensive. And for those who claim that nuclear is expensive, it's because the regulations make it impossible. If you try to make something cheaper, that makes the regulations go up even more, and then it's more expensive. It's just, I don't want to argue it now. That's not my specialty. But if you don't believe in nuclear energy, you're not pro-green. And so what we have is all these Western countries getting rid of nuclear, and they want to get rid of oil and gas. And so then you got nothing but high energy prices. And yeah, solar is nice in the long run. It's fine. But it's not enough. You need nuclear. So anyways, Russia cutting off gas. You got, Germany's like the worst at this. They're shutting down nuclear plants and, closing coal. Coal is like the worst. Great, close it. I agree. That's nice. But you got to get your energy from somewhere. So if you're not going to get your gas and you're not have nuclear, so that's a big factor in driving prices up. So I guess on the margins, it's possible that this war does make inflation a little worse. And why does that hurt the markets? Because it puts more pressure on central banks to pull money out. And that's what makes markets go down. So, I think that's all I got in my notes here. And so listen, and that's why I've been saying this for many months. I've been saying markets are going to go down. And then when you have an event like this with the war, it can be a shelling point for everybody who's like, things are getting tight, and then everybody gets scared at the same time, and so they sell. But again, it's due to this liquidity. That's what you got to watch. We're really not in the bottom until something gets really bad to the point that like the central bank has something breaks that they need. They don't give a shit about crypto. They don't care about you, and they don't care about anything except for them staying in power and everybody thinking that they're smart and they know what's going on, and they will print money to perpetuate that myth and keep the Ponzi going as long as they can. And it will come to an end someday, and it'll be ugly, but hopefully, you get some crypto. We'll figure it out when we get there. But anyways, this war, I don't know. It's sad. It's stupid. I don't want to start pontificating on what's going on. That's not my specialty. All right. But anyways, hopefully, we've been talking a while. Hopefully you're safe here. And I don't know, the market started going up because the U.S. doesn't have a response. Everyone's so surprised about this thing. Like, Putin has been advertising that he's going to go into Ukraine for 6 months. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe he did it. What? And he had a meeting with Xi in China a month before the Olympics saying, we agree and we've got each other's back even through tough times. I was like, oh, China agreed to back Putin when he invades Ukraine. I didn't even think this was a controversial thing. Everyone's so shocked by this. And surprise, surprise, the U.S. has no response. They don't even put sanctions on Putin. They're hurting the people because they think the people will fight against. I don't know. Why would they not put sanctions? The whole thing is stupid. I don't like to get involved. Listen, if we can all just be rich and safe with good crypto investing, the smart people can rise up and take power from these 70-year-old idiots who don't know what the fuck they're doing other than being kind of good at taking money from poor people. So don't be one of those poor people. And hey, let's crypto people get organized and we can elect some people who know what the fuck they're doing. And also, enough with the red team, blue team shit. It's the same fucking thing. Everybody with the red team's better and the blue team's better. It's the same thing. It's centralized versus decentralized. It's political progressives, people who think they can make laws to fix everything, versus technology progressive, people who think technology can help us. And it's about those who believe in freedom versus restrictions and regulations. That's the binary if you want to have one. Red team, blue team, I don't know. They'll be pro-crypto on blue and red. They'll be pro-tech on blue and red. And they'll be anti on both sides. And that's where you got to judge. And fuck the blue team, red team. And don't buy into the fucking lesser of two evils. That phony argument, lesser of two evils. You know what happens when you vote for the lesser of two evils? You get evil. You're not wasting your vote by voting for somebody good. You're wasting your vote by voting for lesser of a two evil.